On this episode, I'm gonna go over the top 10 things that cruisers regret buying most on a cruise. Stay tuned. I recently took a cruise on Princess Cruises where I purchased their Princess Plus package. The package includes alcohol, and I'm not a drinker, but there's other things added to the package like tipping and Wi-Fi that made sense for me. During the cruise, I spent some time trying to justify and second guess my purchase, and so I wanted to think about some other purchases people usually regret on cruises and stuff, and I made my top 10 list of purchases that cruisers regret. First on my list is jewelry. Now, there's nothing wrong with picking up a beautiful piece you have your eyes on. Problem is that when you see the word duty free, you automatically assume you're getting a deal. And that brings up one of two issues with buying jewelry on port. First is that you're usually not ever getting a good deal. I personally saw a friend of mine talk down someone in Cozumel from $58,000 to $18,000 for a watch. The second problem is if there's any repairs that need to be done, it's going to be a hard time doing that at home. So I recommend that before you buy any sort of jewelry, get in details what process you have to go through in order to get repairs from the shop. Bottom line, whatever kind of jewelry you buy, I hope it's something that you're going to use on a consistent basis. Next on the list is digital cameras. There's a good chance that on your next cruise, you're going to see the latest GoPro cameras and equipment being sold on board. What you may not know is that you're paying a premium for that luxury of picking it up on board. The remorse often comes when you get back home and you check online and notice that you could have gotten that same camera a lot cheaper from Amazon or any other retailers. The truth is that most of the cameras that we have on our phones today take amazing photos, and that should get you through your cruise. But if you are in the itch to start your photography, you do need a camera. A cruise might be that perfect opportunity for you to pick up that camera and start taking some pictures to capture the memories. Lotions from the spa is next on my list, and this is one that I have a personal relationship with. I used to love getting massages on a cruise ship, but I used to dread the hard sell that would immediately follow the service. Lotions that are sold on the ship are good quality. The remorse comes from the fact that they're so overpriced, and they're often lotions you don't need. So just know that if you go in for a service, expect the hard sell for products, and also know that it's okay to say no. Drink packages is next on my list, and this is by far the most often discussed and debated topic in forums. Is it worth it or is it not? My suggestion is for you to do the math based on your drinking habits. Find out how much you think you're gonna be drinking per day and match that versus the price of the drink package to see if it's worth it. Also take into account your itinerary. If it's a very port intensive itinerary, then you will not be on the ship as often to utilize that drink package. There's nothing wrong with just sticking to water and everything is included at the end of the day. Drinks are very expensive on a cruise ship. Also, there's a peace of mind if you do purchase the drink package that you know what your final bill will be, and there's no surprises at the end of the cruise. Excursions is next on my list, or more precisely, excursions booked through the cruise ship. What you're paying for when you book an excursion through the cruise ship is the peace of mind that if your tour is postponed or delayed for any reason, cruise ship will wait for you. I often find these fears to be unwarranted as independent operators are very efficient in running these tours. They've been doing so for years and they don't leave people behind. The one time that I would think about booking directly is if my excursion is going to take me hours away from cruise port, where the real possibility of transportation breakdowns could occur and missing the ship could happen. You can get a much cheaper price if you booked your tours from independent operators. You'll also be part of a smaller group. Other issue with excursions is that they often look great on paper, but when you get there, you realize that it's something that you could have done on your own for a lot cheaper or no cost and at your own time frame. A good example of these are the beach excursions where you're paying pretty much for transportation. You can easily pay a taxi driver at port to take you to that beach and you go back whenever you're ready. Bottles of water is next on the list. Now, some cruise loyalty programs will provide free bottles of water for their top tier, but if you have to buy water on a cruise ship, it can get very expensive and it also creates a lot of waste. Fact is that the water that comes through your cabin is already filtered and perfectly fine for you to drink. I recommend you bring a bottle from home and just fill it up. I have a fancy bottle from Lark that I paid $99 for, and it has UV lighting at the top. It kills 99% of all bacteria. I travel with this on cruise ships and travel and no longer have to spend money on bottles of water. Some cruise ships will allow you to bring bottles of water on board. Those policies are constantly changing. I just recommend that before you bring the 24 pack of water onto our cruise ship, go on their website and see if it's allowed. Cruise ship transfers is another thing that cruisers often regret purchasing. What you're paying for is for the cruise line to rearrange transportation for you when you get to the airport to take you to the port. This is something that can be easily done online if you want to pre-schedule it, but often not. You're just better off paying for Uber or taxi when you get there. It's going to be cheaper and you'll be able to leave when you're ready. I recently took the Brightline train in Florida to go from Fort Lauderdale to Miami to reach my cruise. This is one of the options that's often discussed online as an option to get to your cruise port. I did a full video in my channel to help you decide if it's worth taking Brightline. I have cruise Wi-Fi next on my list. And one of the reasons I fell in love with cruising early on was that it allowed me to check out from life. When I took my first cruise, I was in sales and I was constantly getting phone calls from clients any time of day. On my first cruise ship, they weren't able to reach me. Today, you have the option if you want to spend your time at sea completely disconnected or connected to social media and the latest news. Cruise ships will often offer a package on the first day for Wi-Fi. You can also pay on a daily basis. There's nothing wrong until waiting till you get to cruise ports to connect to a local Wi-Fi and check your email and social media. Photo packages is one of the biggest revenue generators for cruise ships. The photographers on board work really hard and often take really good pictures. The problem is that the packages sold at the end of the cruise ship are very expensive, and they also give you tons of copies of prints that most likely you'll never use. There's nothing wrong with just buying one or two prints. Also, the cruise ship is a great opportunity if you're getting the family together for the first time to have a picture professionally taken. Most likely the camera you have on your phone is adequate at taking really good pictures for your cruise. Art from art auctions is the runaway winner of this list. Everywhere I searched, this was easily by far the worst purchase you can make on a cruise ship. Cruise ships will often present these art pieces as a great investment, and the value that they presented to you are often heavily inflated. You're stuck on a ship with poor Wi-Fi and it's often impossible for you to research the purchase you make. If you must purchase art from a cruise ship, please do so because you love the way it looks. The cruise ships also use a lot of deceptive practices in selling these pieces of art. There's plenty of articles that will go into details on keywords that the cruise ships use and what to avoid when purchasing art. So if you must purchase art, please do your research before you get on board. I hope you've enjoyed this list of top things that cruisers regret purchasing on cruise ships. I have more content coming up, and if you like content like this, then please like this video and go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications so you're notified when I drop the next content. And as always, thanks for watching.